Hi everyone, so I'm going to go over this assignment here. Well, it's a lab 2, and it's the modules. So I just want to go over just the structure of how I want you guys to do it. So I have this structure here on your desktop, how you should start organizing the files and everything. You can just put it inside this info folder, and then create those 3 files, which are index.html, script1.js, script2.js, and let's do that first. Let's take it one step at a time. So we're just gonna open this up right here on the Visual Studio Code, and I'll just make this command prompt. Let's go cd desktop. So we'll make a folder called info. So we will do mkdir info. Now let's go inside the info folder, cd info, and here you should see the folder as well, info. Now let's go back over here and we will make the 3 files that we need to create. So let's do type null index.html and then type null script1.js and then type null and then space there, type null, and we'll call it script2.js. And let's see if this one opens up here. There we go, we got that info folder opened up right here. Now you can see all of the 3 files that we just created, and we just need to add some of the code. So I will give you the boilerplate template. I won't do this exact problem right now, but I will give you the boilerplate for this index.html and the other 2 files, but this naming conventions and stuff you will have to do yourself, because I want you guys to really understand the logic of how things work together. So I don't want you to just be copying and pasting and just like doing it, but you have to actually think about the logic as well. So let me just give you a brief template as to what it will be like. So let me just do the index.html page first. Alright, so this should be a good boilerplate template for you to start off with. There are going to be some things you have to change, of course. I'll go through that afterwards. Let's go into script. Let's see here. Let's do script 2 first right here. Actually, let's do script 1 first. So I'm just going to add all the exports, things I want to export back to the main script, which it will be script 2. We'll do export var name equals name. So this is a boilerplate template. You're not gonna have to do all of these. It'll be labeled something else. I'll go over it afterwards, but this is what it should somewhat look like for script 1. So essentially what we're doing is we are taking some kind of variable, like name here for instance, and we are just trying to do something with it right here. So what we're doing is we're adding it into a sentence, and then we are returning it back to the main page over here. And it's the exact same thing as what we're doing with address and with age. We're still just modifying it to like different sentences, but we're just going to export it back to the main page because we want to make this information return back so we can use it, and then we can compile it all onto one page. So one thing to take note here is that the naming conventions of these exports, you see how the first letter of the word is capitalized. So this is just something you have to also just be aware of. This is different from the actual variable name right here, which is in lowercase, and which this is what is actually being used within the sentence. But this name right here with the capital N is just like what we are calling this entire exported function. So it's just a way of naming this area. Same as this address, it's just a way of naming this entire export here. It's just a way of syntax that you just have to remember. And then let's go to script 2 and add some of the code. So let's do import, because right now we want to import all of the functions that we did on the other page, which are name, and remember the ones with the capitalized letter, address, age, and then we'll do from /script1.js because that's what that other file is called, script1.js. And let's do, so here when we do var val equals name, so we have to do capital N, and I'll explain what this is in a second. Okay, so essentially what we're doing here is this is what we're importing from the other script right here from script 1, and we want to import all of this information because we just modified these sentences. So when we come back here, what this is essentially doing is we're actually just sending this information because this is the variable. Remember, in the name we have the variable name in lowercase, so this is what will be used to use within the sentence in script 1. So we are just defining what we want to use in the other script. So it says in the name function right there, use this variable John. So we'll go back to script 1, and it finds this function here, which is name, and then it puts that name John here in this name, and then it places, and this is why we use that lowercase name here, is because we want to use that value that is transported over or transferred over into this sentence, and what it does is it modifies it into the sentence we want and then returns it back into script 2, which is now the value that is given to this variable called val. And as you can see, val is placed right here in the item because that's, now we're adding all of these other sentences together. And this is the age function, which is 26. And of course, when you go back to script 1, it's just using that age, which is 26, to add within that sentence that we have right here. And it'll just return this entire sentence back over here. So what we're doing now is we're just adding the two different sentences, which is val and age, and we're putting it into this one sentence called item. And then what we're doing is we're console logging, and when we console log, this is something that we're adding into, or we can see in the browser. I'll show you in a moment. And right here is what it's doing is it's saying, okay, grab this element ID new, which is right here within index.html, and this is the new ID right here. So it's finding that word new because it wants to know where to place this information. So then it will place it right here in between the two divs because that's what the ID is. It's new, so that's what it's looking for. And it says inner HTML because that's where we want to place it, and we're placing the sentence called item right there. So it's a way of just managing information and then showing what we want to display on the actual browser. Now let's go back to let's actually try running this actually. So save it, make sure everything is saved properly. Now what we want to do actually, in order to see this on the browser, we want to use this plugin called Live Server, because if you go back here, let me just show you. If you open this file right now, and we double click over here on index, right now you'll see that you will not see anything. And let's check the console log. Yes, nothing's gonna be there because right now you won't be able to use it like this. It has to be on some kind of server in order for it to actually run. So what we're gonna actually do now is when we go back here to Visual Studio, if you go to extensions right here, and then we click on live, or we look for Live Server, and should be the first one. Yep, this one right here. So what we're doing, just install this one. I already have it installed, but this is a great local server, so you could start testing things. And you can go back here once you have it installed, click on the index.html, make sure the index.html is highlighted right here. And what you'll do is on your keyboard, I believe it's Alt-Shift-P, let's see here, or Control-Shift-P, let's see here. Yep, okay, so it's Control-Shift-P, and then you should get this drop down, and you just need to search for Live Server and click on Open with Live Server. So once you hit that button on Open with Live Server, then when you open up the browser right over here, you can actually see that you get that sentence that we wanted right here in the actual page, but also when you right click and you inspect. So just right click in the open area and click inspect, and then you'll get this pop-up here. And all you have to do is, well, if we take a look at this first, you'll see in the head right here, you'll see the title, Monika, but also you'll see the title here in the tab as well at the top. And when you open up the body section, you'll see the ID new and whatever sentence that you created. The script, you'll only see a bunch of compiled code right here. It's basically the browser doing its thing in order to manage this server, so don't worry about that one, but it is referencing that script2.js file as well. And then if we go here to the console, don't worry about this thing, but right here, this is the most important, is my name is John and my age is 26. So this is something that you just need to make sure you have in your assignment, and you want to make sure that it is in the console, but it's also showing right here in the actual browser itself, because I will be checking both locations to make sure that you've done it properly. So if we go back here, make sure you have this boilerplate template. Of course, make sure you change this to your name in the title, and then make sure you add, so if we go back actually here to the assignment, let's open up the assignment. What it's saying here is I want you to say this entire sentence. So you'll have to change it from what I've shown to you, but you're essentially gonna have yours to say, my name is whatever your name is, and then my student number is blah blah blah, and I am studying the Digital Design and Development Diploma. So I want to make sure that you have it in the console log, but also when you call that get element by ID, I want you to make the ID with the word called person. So right here, where I labeled it as new, you want to change it to the word person. And this one right here in script 2 as well, then you'll have to change this to person as well. And make sure it shows up on the browser. And yep, so that's the example up there. And then once you have both of these, all of these pages done, and you've tested it with live server, so make sure all of this works. And also just to make sure the script 2, looks like for this lab there's no numbers, so you have to make sure they're all strings like this, and make sure you add them together as necessary to make the desired sentence. So make sure you add the periods where needed and get it to say exactly what I've mentioned up there. And then I want you to, what I want you to do then is I want you to zip the info folder. So if we go here, just zip it together, right click, compress to zip file, and then I want you to just go there, student number, just put your student number, then your first name, and then underscore your last name. And that's basically it. Once you're done, just take this folder and make sure you upload it to Open Learning under the assignments, and it will be within the Lab 2 submission. And it'll tell you right over here in each section as to how much it is worth in each section. So it's a score, the total score out of 50.